I can't get it.
Slow down.
Heard that before, right? And that's true, but there's an important piece missing to that statement. Yes, play slow, but then what? Well, that's coming up. Hi, my name is David Wallerman. Welcome to this channel, which is all about helping guitar players like you find their voice on the instrument, develop it to tell your own personal musical story. And today, we're going to talk about stumbling blocks that happen in your musical development. And that happens to all of us. In this case, this example, I had a lick that was a little too difficult for me. And the typical advice that a teacher or a coach would give you is to slow down. That's true. But then what? What do you do when you slow down? Why would you slow down? There are multiple reasons. We're going to talk about those today. The first reason is to give your brain the ability to connect with what you're playing. I strongly believe that any difficult task that you have to do, we're talking about physical tasks in this case, guitar, licks, if you can visualize and analyze mentally everything that is going to happen, everything that is required to perform that difficult task, in this case that lick, if you have a clear image of how your fingers are going to move and how much pressure you need to put on the strings, that's half of the job. Imagination is very, very powerful. And I'm not talking about imagining something, fantasy or new. No, visualizing, mentally visualizing. Have the creative mind to imagine what would happen if you played it correctly. How would you place your fingers? Slow things down mentally. And so if we are slowing down the lick here, we're going to give our mental a chance to make those connections. All right, so as I was playing this slowly, we can gather some information on the musical statement here. And that's going to vary with your experience. The more you learn, the more pieces of information you can add to your mental picture. But in this case, here are some examples. I heard this, heard and saw this. So that's a chromatic thing. So you associate that with the chromatic box. You know that chromatic passage means that it's a series of notes that are separated by a half step. So you kind of have a picture of that. What else can we gather here? Some descending licks. We started with a descent, so mentally you can visualize, kind of stairs going down like that. All right, ending with a chord, okay. So 3 pieces of information already. So mentally, the picture that you're gonna picture is not necessarily something that is gonna look like this. That is all ascending. There's no chromatic passages. You could hear that there are no chords. So that picture is probably going to be, climbing up a stair, sequence, very regular steps, because the sequence rhythmically was. I think that's kind of what I played. So that picture, mental picture, is going to be very different from this one, right? From that kind of thing. So you're starting to see a picture. And then I want you to actually close your eyes. Seriously, close your eyes and imagine what it would look like on the fretboard, on your fretboard. What it would feel like. What is the fastest section of that lick? Just picture it. Glad you closed your eyes because you didn't see the cut there. I tried to be as smooth as possible. But you kind of picture something. What is it going to feel like? Probably this. That, if you hear this, you hear that it's kind of smooth. It's smoother than where I'm picking every note. It's actually legato. So you kind of almost mentally imagine what it would feel like on your fingers. You would feel, this one finger kind of lifting off, rubbing off of the string a little bit. That picture is going to be more and more clear as you have years under your belt. And the more of these kind of exercises you have, the clearer the picture is going to be. But if you listen to that, you have some images in your mind. So that's the first step. Slowing down will allow you to make that connection with your mind. And again, that's very, very important. If your mind is engaged, what you deliver is going to make a lot more sense, and it's going to be easier to perform because your mind controls your physical most of the time. Hopefully, that's kind of what you want. All right, now that we have that, I'm going to break this lick down into several steps, and that could be dangerous. I'll explain why in a second. But if I look at this, that could be one. That could be the second one. Okay, so that's the first idea. That's the second one. And we'll end with the chord. Two distinct ideas. And we know that because we slowed the lick down. If I just played it like this, it would be difficult to analyze that. Slowing it down, you have a first idea, just descending stuff. Well, okay, I'm going to practice that. And then there's another idea where I'm actually going higher than this landing note. Starting a little higher, so I'm going to start here. And the rest descending. Okay, so two ideas. Now, you might be tempted, once we separated those, to practice those one after the other. So, or spend time on the first section and then on the second. So 10 minutes on that. And then 10 minutes on this. And you nail them down, that's dangerous if you spend too much time on those. Because the connection is really, really important, and that's actually the difficulty in this exercise. Oftentimes, when you take a slice of a lick and then another slice of the lick, when you break down a lick into several slices like that, those slices make sense. They're a continuous idea, like here. I'm not saying that that's very easy, but at least there is continuity in there. And then this one, it kind of makes sense. You're descending all the notes. Where it doesn't make sense necessarily is that we have this connection piece where descending everything and then we're going back up. Okay, so that kind of breaks the logic of the idea. All right, so the point is that when you slow things down, you can analyze what's going on, and that's crucial for proper playing, I think. A lot of players are told to slow down, yes, awesome, and they just practice whatever musical idea they have trouble with over and over and over at a very slow speed. They're going to become very good at playing that idea at a slow speed, but when you increase your speed, if you didn't take time to really analyze what's going on, the things that don't really matter at a slow speed, like maybe the amount of pressure you put on a string, really does matter at a faster speed. It's incredible the difference that it can make. So take time analyzing what you're doing. Look at your fingers as you're doing that idea that you have trouble with. See how they're being placed on the fretboard. Ask yourself questions. Why is my pinky up there? Is it a problem or not? Maybe it's not, but is it at higher speed? Well, actually it is, because it's so far up, then I've got to reach this note here, and that might be a problem. So fix that at slow speed. And once you really analyze that idea, once you have a clear picture of what's going on, know your finger placement, anticipate where the next finger should go. Once you can play it basically without your guitar, mentally, you can visualize every little tendon, where it goes, every muscle, and almost feel in your fingers. Kind of like you're imagining your finger over fire. You kind of feel the sensation if you imagine it. It's the same deal. Once you can do that, that's when you can afford to speed things up. And usually, the speed itself is not the difficulty. The difficulty is to spend that energy really analyzing your playing, and you can only do that at slow speed. I really hope that this is helpful to you and that it inspires you and helps you maybe go a little further on your quest to better expression. Some stumbling blocks can be fixed. all of them can, if you just slow things down and analyze what you're doing. I know you can get discouraged sometimes if you're listening to a player who's technically way more advanced than you are. It can get discouraging, but if you remember that that player is that player, some of the things that he plays maybe are very easy to him, and he focused on that, and you should do the same, by the way. Whatever comes easier to you should be worked on so that it becomes really your huge strength. But also remember that some of the things that player plays that is very challenging, maybe he just slowed things down and analyzed what was going on. And I think you should too. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you have not subscribed yet, you should, because I have 3 videos, at least, coming every week, helping guitar players like you find their voice, develop it, and get inspired to tell your own musical story. Share this around. Maybe someone will benefit from it. If not, that's all right. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.